like, oh, sorry. It's like we're known around the world for being sorry.
Yes.
Well, we have worldwide. Our cheese are fantastic. The quality of milk that comes from Canada is one of the best in the world.
I've heard that.
Yes, so that's the milk is the main ingredients as well as love, because our cheesemakers and our dairy farmers like take pride in how they treat their animal and just make really good milk. So I like to promote, that's why I work for Dairy Farmers of Canada actually, because I promote that little blue cow that is, it says 100% Canadian milk. But the key with this, I like to call it the VQA for cheese. You know how it goes for wine and the vintage quality assurance?
Yep.
Well, this is the same for cheese, because when you buy cheese with that blue cow, you're sure there's absolutely no growth hormones giving to the animal, going into the milk, and all the whole process of, you know, like the life of a cow that's being growth hormones is fairly reduced, but they produce way more milk. But it's not illegal in every country in the world. It is here in Canada, but not in every country in the world. And now there's also Canadian companies that will go and buy the modified milk ingredients coming from other countries where it's not illegal, and then they use it in our Canadian cheese. So that's why I like to bring awareness about that blue cow, because when people buy with the blue cow, they know for sure it comes from Canada and there is none of that practice given for the cow.
High standards.
So it's amazing to see people's reaction when they find that out. Like, we need to know. There's too many things hidden, and this blue cow is what brings it up. Not saying anything bad about any other companies.
No, but I mean, it's standard.
But we need to know.
Sure.
And the blue cow is it?
If you're going to enjoy a bottle of wine that has a lot of preservatives,
yep,
opposed to a bottle of wine that has no preservatives, guess where you're going to go?
Exactly.
The quality is just there.
Exactly, and there's no effect on you as much. It does that to me. I always look for those on wine as well. If you see sulfates, my face becomes red.
Yes.
So those are things that are good and natural. I need to see it on the bottle, because I will go for the cleaner one.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The quality in every time.
Yeah, because quality is the key. If you go to Europe, you'll see how they don't use that much ingredients. They use the best ingredients, and that's what we do with cheese here in Canada.
Like a pizza here is way different than a pizza in Italy.
Yes.
You know, like it's just kind of like the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so good.
So this is the beauty, and that's why I'm so proud to represent Dairy Farmers of Canada, because the quality of cheese that we have here, and I was really lucky to be one of the judges for the Canadian Cheese Grand Prix that happens every 2 years.
Really?
So in 2015, that's when it happened. There was like 268 entries, so lots of cheese going in to be graded. So we eat cheese like for 2 days straight and grade them on so many aspects of the cheese to get each type and each categories of cheese really stand out for what their good benefits and the taste of it stands out.
What do you particularly look for when you're grading a cheese? Like say a generic cheese like a cheddar.
Yeah.
What do you look for? What should you be looking for?
Well, so this is good because it's specific. So cheddars have their own categories in how you grade the cheese. Yeah. But if you go to different, like a fresh pasta filata cheese, like a mozzarella, will be different. Mm-hmm. So each cheese has their categories that you want to look for. The salt is always one of them. You want to also look at the firmness or the openness that we say. So the openness is how much opening you'll have between the cheese curds that are pressed together. So a really perfect cheddar wouldn't have any openness to it. Then there's the texture. Sometimes they would get meaty depending on the quality of milk and all this, and the aging, and so there's so many different. But then you have the taste as well. The quality of milk that goes into it is different.
There's
and
a lot of stuff.
Each province and each country has its own terroir. Which Canada, our terroir is great, and if you have a cheese from terroir is like a taste of a place, really. What comes from the earth,
like a culture, right?
Yeah, but what comes from the earth, so in the grass, for example, or the grains and all this, depending where it's grown, will give a taste to the milk. And this is what we call the terroir. It's the same with the wines, with the vines. They get the minerals from the ground and transferred into the grapes. And it's the same with honey. Every bees that will go to different places will end up being a very unique taste of where the bees have been harvesting.
Sure. Now, is the sommelier is for wine, Is there a sommelier of cheese? You are the sommelier of cheese.
Yes.
You have to be a sommelier.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm very thankful and fortunate to be doing what I do because I love it. And cheese is a whole food. So I don't know exactly cheesemonger, cheese expert, cheese. They call me the cheese poet because I'm French Canadian and just speak with my hands and so passionate about cheese. So I guess that's how I ended up being the cheese poet. So yeah.
So
cheese lover in the end is what it takes.
But cheese is such a universal food. I mean, it can go in almost every single thing, can it not?
Yes,
soups,
absolutely.
Smoothies,
and a good thing for people listening, all you need is cheese.ca has tons of recipes or information. If you want to know also information on the nutritional level, there's dairynutrition.ca, and all those places are like wealth of information for our Canadian cheese and cheese in general, but you just learn about Canadian cheese even more.
Sure.
Yeah.
What about lactose intolerance? Can you get a goat cheese that's lactose intolerant? Or
probably. Those are actually cow's milk cheese that we have here today.
Okay.
The lactose, there's lots of cow's milk cheese, for example, that have absolutely no lactose from when it's ready to be eaten.
What?
Some example of those would be Swiss Emmental cheese made here. Gruyere style of cheese, Alpine, they have absolutely no lactose right from the get-go because it's a different cheese making process, and during the ripening of the first couple months, all the lactase eats the lactose, and by the time it's ready to be eaten and consumed, there's no more left.
How many people don't know that?
Probably many. That's what I talk in my seminars when I talk about cheese. But there's also all those long-aged cheese. As soon as it goes to year and a half and older, the lactose is so minimal that the human body doesn't even recognize it. So you have absolutely no problem going with the firm old cheddar, firm old Goudas, lots of those cheese. There's no problem whatsoever.
No kidding.
Yeah.
See, my wife is lactose intolerant. She avoids cheese like the plague because she thinks her body can't break it down.
No, good news for her. She can go to so many of the tastiest long-aged cheese without problem in Swiss and Gruyere, no problem as well. The Parmesan is also one of them, and the longer it ages, the best.
Love Parmesan.
So yeah, we have great Parmesan as well. There's the more, in a general rule of thumb, is the more moisture there is in the cheese, usually there's more whey, and whey has a little bit more lactose in it usually. So that might be a good way to start. So fresh cheese curds, for example, is a fresh cheddar and has a little bit of whey with it, so you'll have a little more lactose to it.
Does it always have to be cheddar for curds?
No, you can make curds out of Gouda as well. They exist as well, but yeah, the very well-known fresh curds that are so good and addictive are cheddar cheese curds.
Man,
yeah.
My goodness. So tell me about this plate here. What have we got here?
Yes, we have amazing cheese.
I'm salivating. Okay.
Yes, and actually quite a few of those are award-winning. So they won the last Canadian Cheese Grand Prix. There's lots of them. I selected some from BC because we're in BC, right?
Pick one for me.
Well, one good one to start with would be this Brie. Brie has a little bit of a rind to it. You will find like the nice creaminess to your smell because you need to smell cheese. Like it has all different aromas and you get a different smell from the paste on the inside as from the rind. The rind will bring that earthiness and the mushroom-like kind of smell and taste.
The honesty.
Yes, and then the cream from the inside of the Brie makes it like just so gentle and creamy. And this with Pinot Noir is a great wine because it's not too strong of a red wine, and Pinot Noir is one of the great wine that goes with so many cheese, but especially with those.
It's like a firm butter.
Yes. Yeah.
Could you spread this? I would imagine you can spread this.
You could. Let it go to room temperature and spread it. Or make a grilled cheese with like nice Granny Smith apple with it to bring the tanginess to it and the acidity.
Are you kidding
Just
me?
cut through with the cheese.
And
it's
then
amazing.
leave this rind on, right?
Yes, and the rind serves to protect the paste on the inside from harmful bacteria to enter, as well as, I like to say that one of the reasons the cheese is like us human, needs more love. The more the cheesemakers pay attention to it, and when it grows that nice fuzzy blanket to it, they look so cute that there's just more love going into it. The cheesemaker want to pet them. Yeah.
You have such a fascinating job because You're telling us a story with
Yes.
food.
Yes.
And it's a wonderful adventure. It's
Yeah.
a roller coaster of emotions. It's like, here, have this cheese, the blue cheese. Like, I personally don't like blue cheese. Moldy, but some people love blue cheese. My mother
Absolutely.
loved blue cheese. How about you? Do you like blue
Yeah, I
cheese?
was 6-year-old, and my uncle actually, while fishing on the lake in Quebec, kept me with him, and he just got me some blue cheese and long-aged cheddar, and I didn't want to touch it because I didn't like it at the time, but he says, pinch your nose, don't breathe, and put it all over your mouth and your teeth. And then little did I know, he gave me a glass or a sip of port to go with it. And he asked me, do you like caramel? And I said, yeah, I love caramel. So he says, put it in your mouth, don't breathe, so you don't taste it, and then rinse it with the port. And the residual sugar in the port mixing with the blue cheese that has saltiness or the long-aged cheddar with the sharpness just turns the cheese into caramel in your mouth. And it's such a great
way.
experience. So from 6-year-old, little did I know, but I started my journey on cheese and loving to discover
I have to
cheese
do
and
that.
pairings.
I have to. It's like strawberries with whipped cream and brown sugar. You ever tried that?
Oh, no.
This is exactly
That's
what
it.
you're telling
Yeah,
me. You
yeah.
have to take a strawberry,
Yeah.
dip it in whipped cream, sprinkle brown sugar over it,
Yeah.
pop it in your mouth, a party on your tongue.
Yes,
Just
or
like
a good Canadian ricotta, like the one from Ontario Quality Cheese, and you mix a little maple syrup to it, and you just spin it with the name.
a salad spinner.
Yeah, just anything, or a robot that just makes it nice cream.
Oh, like a
And
blender.
yeah, blender,
Yeah,
absolutely.
okay.
That's the word I'm looking for. It just makes it so creamy, delicious, and you have that sweetness to it, plus a little bit of alkalinity from the maple syrup, which is an alkaline food, that just mixed with the cream of the cheese is just fantastic. And the acidity too. Yeah.
Oh, and I'll bet you when people first taste that, you watch their eyes and you think they're getting
Oh, yeah,
light bulb goes on.
totally. It's-
But I mean that blue cheese with the port.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a way. But then if you don't have port or don't drink alcohol, my suggestion to you is like find good honey that you really like. Like with blue cheese, oftentimes like the white honeys are fantastic, especially if you're not too a strong eater of honey. You don't want to overpower your cheese, but yeah, nice white honey to go over top of the blue cheese is just making you understand like the balance that you need to reach when you're doing cheese wine or cheese food pairings. That's the beauty of it. It's just discover, and then your taste for blue cheese just go up, and you just start loving it.
I'm going to bring port into that mixture, and I'm going to try that, and I'll bet you I'll love blue cheese after
Absolutely, you will love it. I'm sure. Yeah.
Man.
And you just go for a good Canadian blue cheese. We have amazing blue cheese, and that little booklet I brought you. Look in there. There's some fantastic blue cheese, whether finalist or not, or even some that haven't participated that still have that blue cow are just phenomenal. We actually won one of the Eastern Canada cheese, won at the U.S. Last Cheese Awards. So they were actually quite stoked that a Canadian cheese won for
Isn't
that.
that something? Well, I mean, come on. Canadians are pretty good at hockey and cheese and a whole bunch of other things.
We are. And Canadians, be proud. Like, our Canadian cheese rock.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's the one thing that we can say definitely over all the world. Even in Europe, we're pulling...
Oh, I compare cheese with European cheese all the time. The big names that we hear out there, and I put it with our best cheese here, we
blow 'em away.
we blow them away. Absolutely.
Really? Good for us.
They just don't know, and Canadians don't really quite know because
we're not that loud.
No, we're say sorry
We're not
instead of,
boastful.
hey, look at this. So I'm just like, Canadian, get together and be proud of our cheese.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So what is the second cheese that you would have? You take us on a world tour.
This little guy here, this is made by Farmhouse Natural Cheese in Agassiz, so really close to where we are today.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see the dark, like off-white color to this cheese. It's made only with summer pastured cows, which, because the summer, actually cows in the winter do like to be inside and warm and usually eat hay or that's been grown during the
So they have a different
summertime.
diet.
They have
Very
a different diet, and their mood is different. It's different season, just like we as human beings change different seasons, right? So, but in the summer, they're more active, they're more out there, they're moving more. Even in the barn that are totally closed, they open outside, and sometimes some of those barns have hills inside, so they stay in shape. So in the summer, they're more active. There's less butter fat to the milk, and there's actually less moisture as well. So it makes more concentrated milk, which turns into a nice, darker, off-white cheese.
I'm getting complicated flavors.
Yes.
I'm getting earthiness. I'm getting kind of a smokiness.
Okay, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, well, every palate is different. So what you're going to get might not be exactly what I get.
What do you get when you taste it?
It's, I get some sweetness. I get lots of earthiness as well. Firm cheese, but then it melts in your mouth.
Yeah.
It's quite mild, but so complex in flavors.
Yeah.
Because there is so much coming to it. The hay, the
you have to stand back for a second and just absorb and say, what is going on here?
Yeah, so this cheese is called Heidi, just like the little program, TV show with that little girl. Heidi.
It has urgency.
Urgency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, taste me, I'm here, I'm important.
Yeah,
This is an important cheese, right?
Exactly. It won for best firm cheese in Canada.
Wow.
Yeah, so it is, it's wonderful, and it's made
Agassiz.
right here in Agassiz by Farmhouse Natural Cheese.
They got to be proud of that.
Absolutely. They also won for best cheddar 9 months old at the Canadian Cheese Grand Prix for the cloth-bound, traditional cloth-bound cheddar. That's amazing, and she's a wealth of knowledge. She's one that I'd call a master cheesemaker for Canada.
No kidding.
Yeah, she's taught like so many of her BC cheesemakers how to make cheese, and then they go on and start on their own.
She teaches classes.
She actually wrote a book, yeah, on cheese and so many recipes how to make cheese. She's awesome. Go guys, go see her.
Out of here.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So what's the next one? This is really neat. I'm just loving this.
It's pretty awesome for sure. So we have, maybe this one would be the next one. This guy might have a piece with holes in it or some not with holes. If you smell it, you'll get the sweetness of it. Yes. It's actually a raw milk cheese. This cheese has been kept for 60 days as a curing period. So most of the non-beneficial bacteria will die naturally, and then it's released for sale. So that's why we can have raw milk cheese in Canada. So lots of flavor. It comes from Quebec, all organic milk. Dairy farmers that came together to create a co-op, and it's called L'Ancêtre, which means the ancestor, in Bécancour, Quebec. It's beautiful Swiss emmental cheese.
This has got a little bit of a bounce to it when you bite it.
Yes, the texture is totally different. Yeah. This is great for making cheese fondue mixed with a Gruyere. Yeah, it's beautiful, and the sweetness, and when you melt it, it just becomes nice and stringy. Yeah, it's a cheese. It's very well known for a ham and cheese sandwich. That's usually where you go, but you can put it in eggs. There's so much versatility.
Party cheese.
Party cheese.
That's what it says to me.
Nice.
I mean, I've tasted three cheeses now. Every single one of them is very unique.
Yep.
The first one with the cream, it just blew my mind.
Yeah, Natural Pastures.
This guy that won
really
the award was fantastic. And this one,
yep.
I never knew. And when I sit down with you, you know what? It's a totally new experience. When I sit down with an expert and I taste it and you tell me what I should expect and what I do expect,
yep.
It's a wonderful conversation. This is not a one-way conversation. This is important. This is really good.
You know what's the best part too? Is food and cheese like we do just brings people together.
Yes, it's social.
And that's what we need in our world. We need to start just working together and sharing. Back in Quebec, where I grew up, we had probably 3-4 times a week dinners, the whole family. And we'd sit for hours eating, laughing, being happy.
Sharing.
And cheese is a big part of it. Yeah. We usually have it before dessert, so that because cheese is alive and all the natural bacteria and enzymes will help you digest and break down the food you ate, so that you can just keep eating.
So you have it after the meal instead of before the meal?
Well, you can have it all the time, really, in my book.
What would you prefer?
But I would suggest having a nice cheese plate so you can finish also the wines that you had.
Yeah.
That's why the French from France usually have it there too, is they finish the big red and get the blue out and all this. But yeah, I'd suggest just before dessert so it helps you digest and break down the food.
That is fascinating. Is there any desserts that you can use with cheese that are really popular?
Absolutely. Have you heard of tiramisu?
Oh, yeah.
So this is mascarpone cheese, and mascarpone is like creamy. It has a good amount of fat. Really, fat is flavor in the end, and there's lots of great benefit to dairy fat. It has one of the lowest meltability of all fats. So if you exercise, you lose that. If you don't really exercise, just cut a slice or eat a piece of cheese, then go to your favorite TV show, watch and then eat the cheese, then you'll realize I need another piece. So you're gonna run to your fridge, get another piece, and then go back to your chair, and then you'll stay healthy and happy. The key is happiness. When I eat cheese, no matter the amount of fat to it, it makes me happy.
Yeah.
And happy is health. We need more happiness. We need more smiles. And that is something that cannot be translated.
You know what you're saying to me when you're educating me about cheese? You're saying, come visit me.
Yeah.
Come visit me.
For sure.
Let's just have a talk. Let's just talk and share and
cheese.
Life and celebration.
And if you do make a cheese board at home made with Canadian cheese, just tell the story about the cheese. Like, read a little bit on it. Put the name of the company that's out there. In all truth, lots of people tell me our cheese are expensive, and I don't really agree to this. We have one of the highest quality of milk, so they should be. It's all made real. So do buy. It's worth spending the money because it actually, the money stays here rather than going to Europe or the United States or anywhere else. So we need that. That's what creates our economy and stay in. Our cheesemakers need it as well, because that's, if we buy their cheese, they keep making cheese and discovering new recipes and making more award-winning cheese. So it's all a circle that maybe you'll spend a few more dollars, but it's worth it because it's for us. We're helping ourselves grow and still win awards around the world for cheese and becoming renowned for cheese, because we should be.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course. So, do you teach cheese making?
I did for a while, but this is not really what I do, because cheese making really is it takes a lot of time and energy. It's not easy. You have to be an artisan for making cheese, and I've learned from the artisan way with Hubert Bessner, which was one of the master cheesemakers. He's built 6 cheese plants across the country, and I've learned so much from him. But for me to be day in, day out making cheese, I still make cheese at home, which is fantastic, and it's a great thing. I suggest everyone to try, because you'll understand more than milk. You'll understand everything. I also buy milk and make my own kefir, which is a fermentation of the milk, and after 24 hours staying in the jar with the kefir grains or seed, however you call them, you end up with yogurt, and it's just amazing. And you see the benefits and of that are great milk, coagulated and fermented. Fermented foods are great, and cheese is one of them. Yeah.
What a great story.
There's so much. I love cheese.
You know, you and I could do this for hours. You know that?
Totally.
Because look, your message is so important. People need to know it. And how many people don't get down to the trade show to see you on stage?
That's right.
That's a pity.
That's right. So thanks for helping getting people to understand and hear this message.
You're sharing your heart. You're sharing your authenticity.
Absolutely.
You can't keep that from people.
No, that's right.
So important. It has to be.
The authenticity is one of the greatest, dearest value. Integrity as well. So it's really important. And there's some people that are better at making cheese than I am. So when I have people asking me, can you teach me? I will send them to those people, because that's what they dedicate their life to do. And so I would be way better helping them teaching, but for me, I can teach it, explain it. I've done it over and over, but I want to transfer that passion so people want to understand where the food come from and just reach many people to understand the authenticity and integrity of our great Canadian cheese.
You're an educator. Extraordinaire. You're a cheese ambassador.
Exactly. That's absolutely. And I love it.
So do you do this for a living? You just go around and travel and talk about cheese and
stuff? I do lots. Many places across the country. I'm mostly based in the Okanagan, because there's lots in the Okanagan and so many wineries. We have amazing wine in the Okanagan. It's getting discovered now by the world as some of the best wines in the world. Really? But we're really, really young as a new wine country, but we are making noise out there. And that's the same for cheese. Just in the Okanagan too, all the cheese that come out of there, which we could check, like another cheese, this guy right here, this is one, we don't call them stinky, we call them cheese with character. And like this is one that has lots of character, like a brie style of cheese, just like you'd find in France. And you see like the ripeness, you get lots of earthiness, even hay, and even barn farm smell to it.
I'm just getting Bessie the cow here.
Yeah, absolutely. And he has only 17 cows right in Enderby in British Columbia. It's called terroir cheese, and you really get the taste of that milk and the terroir that goes to it. It's really unique, stronger a little bit. If it's mild and young, it'll be more pasty on the inside and milder. But as it ages, it becomes nice and runny and just like so full of
what
flavor.
What do you get when you taste this cheese? What are you picking up?
Yeah, lots of, actually I get a slight burn to it, a little bit of salt, and it's, you have like the hay grass, a little lemon almost to it.
Yeah.
It's
This
fantastic.
is a cheese that it waits for you.
Yeah.
You know?
I love it.
Like it waits for you because you have, again, with that other cheese, you have to take a moment, you have to sit back and really enjoy it. Like a fine brandy or a fine port.
Exactly.
You don't guzzle it down. You just,
and you let it go all over your teeth and all over your mouth and really take the time to enjoy the nature of it. I love this. Lots of chefs, like very high-end chefs in the Okanagan, they love this. They just serve it and...
Wow, I just got a fantastic burst of flavor.
Yeah.
You and I are connecting, man. We're just like brothers from another mother.
That's the key. That's absolutely how it goes, yes.
So
it's a great pleasure.
I see when you talk to people and when you educate people, if you do what you do here on stage, no wonder you're good at what you do. Because you know what? It's coming out of you. It's like your eyes light up and you smile and you stand there and say,
Thank you.
This is what I love.
Exactly. I always tell people to go and do what they love. It's I hang on to a lot. I ran a cheese plant for many years. I started my own company bringing fresh cheese curds, and I've had ups and downs like everybody does. And I still do. But the one thing that's for sure is every time I'm out there on a stage in front of 100 people, teaching people, seeing their eyes open, I am so rewarded that, oh my goodness, it's like the best thing. People need to know, need to understand. And I shine in it because I love it.
And they remember your they remember your words. They penetrate in them, and it's important to them.
I also ask them, did you guys get it? And you see people that get it.
Light bulbs
you see it, and their eyes are just like, whoa, really? And this is amazing because it's bringing consciousness about the beauty of what we do and the pride of what we do. It's not ego. It's real.
It's what would another name be for ego, for pride? Not a Canadian word.
Yeah.
Confidence and
we should.
Workmanship, quality of workmanship.
Yes.
And international. Well, I don't know. We're gonna have to think about
pride. Yeah, it's pride, but pride in the good sense of the word. Yes, absolutely.
Pride in the work, not pride in the ego.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's authentically great Canadian cheese. So we should be proud. We should be confident going out there, knowing it.
Yeah.
And confidence is a great thing.
Sure.
And then the love that goes in it, the love that transport from it, is really important. All you need is cheese, but it has lots of love in it.
Oh, sure.
So the love travel, and John Lennon knew it. He sang it with the Beatles and all this, but really, we need love.
Yep.
And there is lots of love into cheese making.
So do you live in the Okanagan?
I do, yeah. Right in the Okanagan, and it's a beautiful place to live. Very hot and dry in the summer, great for growing grapes. But there's all the water from the mountains as well. The soil has so much richness from the old glaciers as well. You can see it in Kalamalka Lake, for example, that's so like green in the summer because all those sediments come back up to the surface, making it one of the 10 most beautiful lake in the world.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
The Okanagan is a beautiful place. All the fruits that come out to make accompaniments to go with the cheese, the pears, the apples, the cherries, the apricots.
What a blessed country we live in.
Absolutely.
You know what we should do? Set up this radio booth somewhere in a winery.
Yeah.
And bring it from the Okanagan, maybe 3 or 4
and
places.
And do some wine and cheese.
And real wine and cheese, and make a radio station, radio play for you guys. A radio station dedicated for you. Oh, wouldn't that be a blast?
Yeah, that'd be fun.
We could have so much fun.
Yeah, I love this. This is the other part that I always wanted, is like a recording studio.
Your own radio show?
Absolutely.
Oh, hey man, here it is.
I actually started a radio when I was in college.
Did you?
Yeah.
Where in
For the
Quebec?
English community in Quebec City.
No kidding.
It was called the Radio Box.
Radio Box.
The goal was to teach and you help the students in every languages that we learn in school and business to be all part of it, to be able to learn with the radio and also do dances for the other English community, elementary school and high schools, and it's still alive today.
Did you love it?
Oh, absolutely. And then I traveled the world, tried cheese from all over the world, came back here to realize, my goodness, I'm getting in cheese because I loved it so much, and that's what I did. And now I know our Canadian cheese really rock. Yeah.
You know what? When I see a person with passion and purpose, I know that their life plan is already planned for them.
Yeah.
And you, my friend, have that passion and purpose.
Oh, thank you. I
It's
really,
just like,
really
come on,
appreciate it.
You can't deny that. What you do is very important.
Thank you.
And I'm here to thank you so much.
Thank you. Without you, it wouldn't get out there even more.
You know what? I'm just a conduit. I'm a filter. You are the star.
No.
You are the star. And because I feel so bad for people that don't make it here. They've got to hear your voice, and you've got to hear you explain what you just did.
Thank you. I'm really thankful. I appreciate it.
It was a delight. It was an honor to have you on
And then there's more cheese for you to enjoy after.
You're gonna
Absolutely.
leave this? It won't last long.
I made it for you. There's Little Qualicum Cheese Works, and there's Village Cheese.
Now, which one have I not tried?
This one here, which is kind of a Gruyere style made here. All their own cows. They have Brown Swiss, they have Holstein, they have Canadian, and their milk is very unique because of all those breeds. So very unique cheese. It's a washed rind, so you have different tastes going inwards from the outside as well.
It's a little bit drier.
Drier, because Gruyères are always a little drier. With the Gruyères even, you'll get a little almost sandy to it. But there's some of my favorite cheese we have as well.
A nice texture, good chew.
Oh, it melts super well too. Yeah, it's a great cheese to melt.
And I love the aroma.
Yeah. Very unique as well.
Yeah.
So it's called Rath Trevor from Little Qualicum. Yeah, you can hear my my French accent on that one. Probably the whole time because it is there.
This is good.
And Village Cheese is a plant that I ran for many years actually. This
is from your plant that you ran?
That I ran for many years, where I started Squeaky Cheese as well. And so this is actually a smoked cheese, but it's a smoked wild salmon. So we use the Pacific wild salmon. That usually would be thrown back dead because it's not a cheese fish that's being used so much. It's turned into a jerky and then mixed with the cheese curds inside the cheese, pressed together, and then the whole cheese is smoked for about 8 hours using different wood chips, and it makes it just almost bacony in taste, and it's just so delicious. Like in Christmas time and all this, it's a very unique cheese to bring on board, and people love it.
It's very smooth.
Yeah, and it ages very, very well as well.
And it's an elegant cheese. It doesn't assault your senses. It just comes in smooth to the palate, and then it leaves just as smooth.
And those are the cheese that should have last, because the smokiness will take more of your taste buds away. So it's always good to start from the mildest all the way up to the strongest.
Interesting. I didn't know that either.
And finally, a Gouda from Quebec. It's beautiful Bargeron cheese. You'll get the sweetness to it, which is very unique to Goudas. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Oh, this is nice. This is firm.
Yeah.
And
it's aged. It's called Louis C.
I'm picking up something interesting.
Yeah.
Something I haven't tasted or smelled in this. What is that?
Well, the Goudas in this kind have like a little sweetness that's almost like butterscotchy. That's really unique to Goudas. And as they age, they become like darker in color. And then there's an amino acid that also comes up that makes those crystals. People confuse it with sugar or salt, not quite knowing what it is. They're actually an amino acid called tyrosine. And in cheddar, it would be called calcium lactate. So they're all different, but if you see those spots all around an older cheese, don't think it's mold. It's actually a really good sign of aging. Yeah.
What an education. Really
I'm glad I passed it on to you. It's awesome.
I'm so glad I came up to your booth and talked to you guys. This is beautiful.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here. Thanks for having me.
I'm just delighted. You know how long we've talked? 37 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Feels like that much.
Totally. It went fast. Absolutely.
Oh, I love it.
I actually was worried about, am I missing my next seminar?